Welcome back. Let's find out if we've got anything wrong so far. For that, we go to TV's Andy Levy. So, Andy, what's the word?
Oh, hey, Greg. The Word was a supergroup featuring the North Mississippi All-Stars along with gospel pedal steel guitarist Robert Randolph and keyboard player John Medeski. The five were drawn together by their love of gospel music and the sacred steel tradition in particular. Sacred steel, of course, being the African-American musical style that came out of the House of God churches back in the 1930s when a pedal steel guitar was used in place of a church organ, Greg. The Word put out a self-titled album in 2001. Interestingly, Greg, it was a gospel album but without lyrics. Gospel without the gospel, if you will.
And this has been in the news.
No.
That was a reference to a very old show that you used to see on Saturday mornings. Remember with the little globe that went around? This is in the news with Andy Levy.
Okay.
You are 72.
Don't you remember? No one remembers that? CBS. Who was the guy? Christopher Glenn.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Actually,
Christopher Glenn.
It would come on like before shows.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was the boring thing that justified the cartoons.
Yeah. Can we move on now?
Yes.
Okay.
What? You're asking me to move on? You just spent 10 minutes.
I just spent 10 minutes educating our viewers, Greg. You did nothing.
Oh.
President speaks out about Libya. Anthony, you said Obama's getting us into another war. According to reports, when Obama briefed members of Congress before he gave his speech on Friday, he told them that not only was he not authorizing troops on the ground, he's not authorizing airplanes.
So what is he authorizing?
He's saying that we are diplomatically supporting the no-fly zone, but that we will not be part of the enforcement. If that's accurate.
No cool planes?
None of our
great
cool planes.
footage?
No, just
I
the cool
like the war show.
Well, there'll still be cool planes from other countries, most of whom probably bought planes from us. So.
I like seeing my tax dollars actually going toward a rivet. Something good and expensive that isn't a social program. You know, an antenna.
Who are you talking to right now?
Yeah, that is odd. I really should stick to that. I'm such a rookie.
Because I didn't hear a word you said. I assumed you were talking to, that guy.
I'm terrible.
You're hallucinating again.
I feel like a kid on Wonderama.
Carl, you want the president to define the consequences Gaddafi will suffer. And that's a good point. A couple weeks ago, Obama was saying Gaddafi had to go. Now it seems like the whole mission is to protect civilians, and whether or not he goes doesn't matter.
I think that's what it is. And what are the consequences? Being less popular? I don't know what we can threaten Gaddafi with other than a military tribunal in Gitmo.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Good point there.
And by the way, Andy?
Yes.
No fly zone in New Hampshire. You just get close to the fly strip, and you're in it's about a 5-foot circle. Okay, we can move on.
I don't know what that means. Okay.
Those cold eyes of his.
Yeah. Remy, I don't think Hillary's been passionless on this issue. From most accounts, I think she's been among the administration's most fervent supporters of doing more.
Of doing more? Well, perhaps. Yeah. I don't know. I heard reports earlier this week that this is it. She's not going to do this again. She's done with public position.
But that's because she was passionate.
But that's because she's pissed off because she feels passionately about this and she feels like the president doesn't.
I don't know if you saw it earlier today. I had to sit around waiting for my car to get fixed, and I saw the TV. I'm thinking, oh, this is breaking news. I'm going to watch it. I mean, she's leaning back, standing up. She literally looked disinterested. Like the words that were coming out of her mouth was not something. These are her words.
Right.
She may be unhappy with the administration, but she could do something to show some level of support for what our country is doing.
What was wrong with your car?
I think she's just tired.
The headlight was out.
She's just tired of people like you criticizing her from the back bench.
Or the back seat.
Bill, you said the Republican criticism of Obama has gone from he's doing nothing to he's getting us involved in another war. And I agree that there's some truth to that. But I also think a lot of Republicans and Democrats have been saying all along that we shouldn't get involved militarily in Libya. And I think a lot of Republicans, it wasn't that they wanted Obama to start bombing Libya. They just wanted him to seem a little more engaged.
I don't get the seem a little more engaged thing. I mean, he's engaged, but he's not pointing and yelling like everything's scheduled from 12 to 6 is. You know,
well, let me give you an example. It's now being reported that Obama realized on Tuesday, that's 3-4 days ago, that diplomatic efforts to stop Gaddafi weren't working. This is the smart president, right? This isn't the one we were told for 8 years is stupid.
Yeah.
He just realized 3 or 4 days ago that, oh, it's not working.
Well, what we're talking about here, if we want to take it to its logical progression, is regime change. And in the last administration, we might have been accused of doing that a little too quickly. Now, I know being reticent isn't a popular thing to do, but in this case, I really think it's worth it, and I think the troops think it's really worth it.
But then if it's worth it, isn't that
And
what...
scene.
But if it's worth it, then isn't that what...
I don't know if it is.
Isn't that what he should be saying?
That it's not worth getting involved?
He's afraid of putting his money where his mouth is.
No, I think he's afraid of putting the troops where Gaddafi is. And I don't blame him.
Well spoken, Bill.
Well, maybe
Thank you, sir.
shouldn't.
I can't tell if you're being
until
sarcastic.
every
No.
rebel was dead.
Huh?
Maybe you should
Well,
wait
but you just said
until
we don't
every
care
rebel was
about
dead.
Libya, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really care about Libya. And we don't know if those troops were plotting the Lockerbie bombers.
Right.
Andy said earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Well, you can't spell Libya without lib.
That's true.
Wow.
So Obama should go there himself.
That had absolutely no application to this
Hey,
whole
can we,
story.
by the way, can we talk about, I guess it was Thursday night after the UN passed the resolution with the no-fly zone?
No, we can't.
That the rebels, they were going through some celebratory gunfire.
Yes.
When you're facing an opponent that's better armed than you, maybe save your ammunition.
Yes.
Yes. I never understood that.
I just, smart people. Come on, rebels.
We don't know who those
Can we
rebels
also
are.
talk about the fact that I am a jerk and I can't hear the phrase rebel forces without thinking of Star Wars?
You're not the only one, unfortunately. Yes.
I feel bad about it, but it's true.
I'm also told that they did a celebratory tank firing after that, where they just set their tanks on fire and danced around it. These guys aren't going to win, Andy.
I don't think they have tanks, Bill.
No. Well, they're just horses painted green.
Whatever happened to the piñata for celebrating?
Yeah, that was a...
Nobody does that
Yeah.
anymore.
It's dangerous.
Well, it's bad for your teeth.
Dangerous. Yeah, it is.
I think that's a different culture.
Oh, sorry, Andy.
Literal.
The Libyans and their damn siestas. That's the problem. The rebels are doing too many siestas.
All right, come. I got to move on, or I'm not going to get to Rebecca Black.
All
Sorry,
right,
that's
quickly
true.
then.
Just quickly on the Gregalog, the Wisconsin Police and Firefighters Association sending that letter. Anthony, Greg asked you if you think cops can separate doing their jobs from an issue like this, the whole union thing, and you said you don't think they can. I actually think they can.
You think they can?
Yes.
I'm looking right at you this time, by the way.
Yes, I know you are.
Yeah, no, I know a lot of cops, and I keep saying that, and they're very nice to me as I do 90 down the Long Island Expressway.
Right.
But yeah, no, I honestly think they can separate it, and I think a lot of people would get in trouble. I think a lot of cases would be brought up if a shop owner or what have you thought the police were not protecting them like they should be because of this.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Of course you do.
Yeah. That said, Remy, I completely agree with you that this letter was unfortunate, and I think the people who sent it should clarify what they meant.
Oh, very nice. You don't agree with me often, Andy. Thank you.
I do. I just keep quiet about it. Makes for bad TV, like this. Rebecca Black. Greg, you said that the hateful comment Black got that said she should cut herself and die was from Dr. Phil.
Yes.
I would just like to add my condemnation of that monster.
I know. Why hasn't he come out and refuted that comment?
No, he needs to repudiate himself.
Where is he?
Yeah, I don't know. I believe he's in hiding now.
Yeah, he should be in hiding after saying such things.
Yep. He is not going to get that job with Affleck.
No, absolutely.
Remy, you said if you put something out there on the web, you're going to get hate. But, of course, she thought this thing was only going to be seen by her friends and family. She had no idea that it was going to go viral, as the kids say.
Okay.
So.
You still need to be prepared in this day and age. I mean, isn't that what so many people do when they put their things up on YouTube? They're hoping that strangers will see
Then
it.
set it in private so only your friends and family could see it.
She's 13 years old. Come on.
That's why her parents should have been taking more of a role in monitoring
No, I
this.
agree with you. I agree with you.
I don't think her parents wanted to monitor it.
That's the problem.
Yeah. A couple of quick points. As of Thursday, Friday was up to number 54 on iTunes.
Wow.
It turns out that, like Bill, Rebecca has a life-size cardboard cutout of Justin Bieber in her room. And just lastly, isn't this song just a blatant rip-off of Loverboy?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think enough people are saying that.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't.
All right. I'm done.
Yeah, you are. God, I thought he would never end. Anyway, coming up, Dave Matthews is dead. Set against making music that isn't irritating. But first, Charlie Sheen. Cool, let's talk about him on Monday. Not tonight, though.
Guests on Red Eye will stay at the luxurious Red Eye Suites. Conveniently located just minutes from the Garden State Parkway, the Red Eye Suites provide world-class accommodations for first and longtime guests alike.
It was a mocking demeanor we got from the wiener. And so the Republican-controlled House voted to defund the National Public Radio thing, and that prompted the New York Democrat Anthony Weiner to unleash another of his righteous rants. And yesterday's yammering was particularly yammery.
Crisis averted, ladies and gentlemen. What a relief. What a relief. I'm glad we got the economy back going. I'm glad we've secured our nuclear power plants. I'm so glad the Americans are back to work. We finally found out our problem. We discovered a target that we can all agree upon. It's these guys. This is a problem. It's Click and Clack, the Tappet brothers. We're finally getting rid of them. Thank God we solved this problem for the country. Now let's look at the record here. For one, they talk in that Boston accent. Car talk? It's a car. It's a car, ladies and gentlemen. I need to call Congressman Capuano whenever they're on the air. Secondly, they talk about master cylinders and slave cylinders. It's kinky. I am glad my Republican friends are finally getting to the bottom of this. And then with all the giggling and snorting that they do every weekend on their show, it's got to be some kind of a code. They're clearly talking to the Russians or the Chinese or something with all that giggling and snorting. It is fine. I'm so relieved that we had this emergency session, that we waived the rules of the House that require 72 hours, so we finally get these guys off my radio. Click and Clack, the Tappet brothers on Car Talk. I know it, because these guys, clearly they're political. Well, I don't know if they're political. They make no sense about most of what they say.
That is so the opposite of killing. Anyway, time for a beer. Yeah. Now, if NPR had a show on how to do that, maybe I would listen. Anthony, isn't his shtick, A, completely wrong? No one is getting rid of anything.
No one's getting rid of anything. First of all, you should get rid of your name. You would think he'd go to Weiner. It's like when someone's named Kuntz. You know what it was before.
You know, I wonder, is it Weiner?
No, I think it's Weiner.
Is it Weiner?
I think it's Weiner.
Oh, okay.
And I don't like seeing a prop comic on the House floor.
Yes.
That's awful.
Yes, exactly.
It's like Gallagher's out there.
Yeah, if I want that, I would have elected Carrot Top, which I tried to do in the early 90s. It was kind of a write-in campaign. He almost got 1 million votes.
Click and Clack was almost mine and Opie's name, too, when we first started, so I'm glad that didn't happen.
Carl, okay, here's the point of his mockery is this, is that the funding of NPR didn't cost a lot of money. But does that matter if it only costs, if we were only giving it millions of dollars instead of billions? Should that, of course that should matter, right?
Yeah, I know, and I think the figure I heard is $65 million, which is a lot of money where I come from. Mm-hmm. And for once, I agreed with everything that Mr. Weiner said, except I think he might have been being facetious. Let Click and Clack go out and survive in the real world, the private sector, or go to the railroad track for Click and Clack like the rest of us do.
Yeah. Hey, Remy, did Weiner have a point on his head?
Well, I think whatever point he had about them having to call an emergent session to deal with the NPR funding, that there may have been some sense to that, but whatever. He was so disrespectful. He was so horrendous. I mean, it is a privilege and an honor to be elected by your constituents, to go to these types of things, to stand at that podium. For him to have been so awful, and he wasn't funny. Yeah. It was just offensive to watch.
It was so disrespectful. Boehner started crying.
Yeah.
Although he wasn't listening, but he was crying.
Can you just show that picture you just had of Boehner? I mean, not Weiner, Boehner, the whole same thing. Bill, I like that pose. The pose of, like, just resting your head on part of your hand like that. Isn't that a nice pose?
Why? I have a feeling we've got a picture of me coming up where I'm doing the same pose.
I just noticed a striking similarity between him and Squidward from SpongeBob. Am I the only one? The face?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think, look, it wasn't that funny, but he raises a good point. Yeah, on the surface, it's $65 million. You know how much that saves from the budget? 0.00075%.
That doesn't matter.
So their point is, the Democrats' point is they can waste a little bit.
Why are the Republicans wasting time?
It's not
and it was an emergency session in Congress. Why are the Republicans doing that when they should be getting to work on stuff like Social Security, Medicaid? Why are they doing it? It's a vendetta. On shows like the Prairie Home Companion, they don't have a socialist agenda, guys. They got a bad cowboy jokes agenda. Now, this guy has got some balls. More Democrats should. And I think this whole whole thing was just pitched so that I would say, I love Wiener. Well, I do.
All right.
And I also like that congressman.
Yeah, terrible. We're taking a break, but there's plenty more when we come back, so stay right there. So last night I told you how much I enjoy bathing in the creek with my cousin Seth. And I do. But I also love charity. So let's get to the bid, the final bid of the latest art to win this. I call this, of course, Lesbian Unicorns in Love, and it's a downright masterpiece. The winning bid comes from Mr. Mark Doyle, Santa Monica, California, with the winning bid of $1,274. Mark said, quote, "The garters did it for me." And I know what you mean, Mark. Take anything in life, add garters, and it makes it better. Congrats, Mark. And now, you're going to get this soon, to the new art. I call this Jones in Jeans. It's my hip-hop version of Unicorn Jones hanging out in his baggy jeans. I'm hoping this art appeals to your younger, more urban demographic. If you want to win this piece of art, email your bid to redeye@foxnews.com. To be considered, it will be framed and autographed. The bids will close by Thursday, maybe? Next Friday. Who cares? And as you know, all the money goes to Wounded Warriors Project. And remember, let's not forget the real message here. It's not about charity. It's about me being awesome. Okay, before we go to break, it's time for my favorite thing, Babysitter of the Month.
Babysitter of the Month.
Yes, in Austin, Texas, a man was arrested for assaulting a person who took a picture of him. Here he is. Jonathan Washburn, seen here, asked the person to erase the picture. When he refused, Washburn whacked the guy with a skateboard. So congrats on Babysitter of the Month, Mr. Washburn. You will make a lot of money. If you want to book Mr. Washburn as your babysitter, simply send me your name and $300 here at Red Eye, and I'll get in touch with him and have him call you. Let's just stare at each other for a while. All right. This is beautiful. We're going to close things out with the post-game wrap-up from TV's Andy Levy, a very depressing guy. And to see clips of recent shows, go to foxnews.com/redeye. There I am. I like that suit. Don't forget, you can watch us Saturday at 2 a.m. Eastern Time, 11 p.m. Pacific Time. A brand new Red Eye returns on Monday. The guests include Kimberly Guilfoyle, Diane Macedo, Terry Shepard, and Tucker Carlson. That's a lot of people. Back to TV's Andy Levy for the post-game wrap-up.
Thanks. I think guests for the week included.
Oh, no wonder it was confusing for me.
Yeah. Hey, Carl, is it true you used union thuggery tactics to get back on Red Eye?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Andy. It's nothing certainly that an artificial knee won't take care of as far as Greg goes. And Bill is supposed to show me the roof of the Fox News building as soon as we wrap up here.
Ugh. Adjusting collar nervously.
Yeah. Most people don't come back from that.
No, they don't, Andy.
Yeah. Hey, Remy, you doing that hideous Nancy Grace show again?
Well, you know, when you put it that way. Yes, Wednesday of next week, I'll appear on Nancy Grace's show on CNN Headline News.
Do you know the original name for that show was Talking Jack-O-Lantern?
I like to think I bring the defense perspective to a very prosecutorial, slanted show.
Okay. I like to think that, too.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
nice
Anthony,
tonight.
you have a good St. Patty's Day?
Yeah, it's great. It's one of my favorite holidays. I do what I usually do, grab a couple of Guinness and play vomit hopscotch down Fifth Avenue. A lot of fun.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Great holiday.
Yeah, the walk home from here at like 10 o'clock at night on St. Patty's Day is always an adventure.
I got a forearm shiver from a drunk kid. Just came up and just
Yeah.
bam, right into my... And what am I going to do?
I wasn't that drunk.
Anyway.
Hey, Bill, any big weekend plans?
I'm going to the zoo.
What's that?
I'm going to the zoo.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
I'm going to the zoo. It's this hot new club on 42nd and
Right.
something.
Right.
Now I'm going to the Bronx Zoo. Folks are in town.
He's
And I
going with
hope,
Mom and Dad.
yeah, I hope they get me a balloon.
Yeah.
And we're doing it bright and early tomorrow.
Wait a
'cause my
minute,
dad's very good
Bill,
at
Maybe,
about it.
maybe some cotton candy?
Huh? Oh,
Maybe,
no,
if
we're
you're
not going to
good.
get some cotton
If you're
candy.
good, if you're good, Bill.
Bill,
Thank you. I'll be good.
And you got to understand, it's not that kind of balloon he wants.
My folks are watching.
I know.
Yeah.
Bye,
Gotta
Andy.
go. Bye.
Remy, always a pleasure. Bill Schultz, you're a disgusting human being. Carl Zahn, always a pleasure having you on this show. Anthony Cumia.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Anthony, always a pleasure. I'm Greg Gutfeld. I shall see you next time.